Hey, what's up, everybody? Pat here, great for recovering alcoholic and addict, just like every day. Guys, please don't forget to subscribe, leave the video a like, drop me a comment, and by all means, share it with anybody you think might get something out of it. Other than that, how we all doing today, guys? I'm well today. I'm grateful today. I'm lucky I'm not hurt today. um, Very busy day. I woke up to a little bit of snow. It was very minor last night, so I let the other guy go out and do the little bit of shoveling and salting we had to do. I had a lot of work to do, so I went about my day. One job I planned on doing first got canceled. Another job that I'd been previously working on fell through, so I'm not fell through, but uh, ended up coming through so I could complete that. So I went and took care of that. Somebody else called in with some more stuff, so I went and started another big project. And then I had promised the guy at the flower shop I was going to bring the Bobcat down and move some snow because Valentine's Day is coming. They rent a U-Haul for deliveries, so I was going to make some room for that. And as I was driving the Bobcat down to the flower shop, I noticed, being a mechanic, I'm pretty in tune with the machine I'm driving, and I could feel that one of the tires was low, but it's a Bobcat tire. They're usually pretty resilient. I made the poor choice to drive right by the car wash, which has got a free air hookup because I was, in a hurry. And as soon as I started moving snow, the tire came right off the rim, and that's a big problem, right? So I stopped, got a ride back to the shop, got my truck, my tools, went back there, and I managed to finagle the tire back on the rim. But if you guys know anything about equipment, big balloon tires, you can't just put air in them. You've got to set the bead, and that can be very problematic. And doing so on the side of the road is next to impossible. So I thought about it, and I've seen over the years on video tricks where a lot of times what people do is they'll spray starter fluid inside the tire and then light it and jump back, and the explosion will set the bead. Well, as I thought about it, I'm like, this is kind of a perfect situation for that. I've never attempted it before. I know it's very dangerous, but I also know what I'm doing. So I went and I got myself some starter fluid. And again, I know better. If anybody's ever gonna do this, you've gotta have you gotta be 6 or 8 feet away when you ignite it. So I should have sprayed starter fluid on the end of a long whatever broom handle, stick, anything. I didn't. I went up and I lit it with my my grill lighter, and lo and behold, I wiped most of it off, but I've got no hair in my hand. I've got not much of an eyebrow left, and I got no eyelashes on my right side. I blew myself up pretty good, guys. My hand's burnt. Side of my face is burnt a little bit. Nothing bad. I was cautious enough to stand back, but I used too much starting fluid. And again, I should have erred in the side of caution. I didn't. It was very comical. But it did work. I actually did get the tire back on. I got it to hold air. I filled up my tire, and I went about my day. I went to my doctor's tonight and got my Sublocade injection. I had a good laugh with the nurse. She was just freaking out. But she, you know what? Again, another new nurse. And when she went over my background, she was absolutely blown away. And literally, every time I get to work with a new medical professional, particularly in the recovery field, they're so thrilled. Like when they see the totality of the program that I'm working, like they're just absolutely blown away. I mean, the woman gave me a hug and she scheduled my next appointment. Since I've been talking about that, I will talk about that. I did schedule my next Sublocade injection for 6 weeks because I've gone 5 weeks this time, and I am weaning myself down. And it went really well, so I'm going to go with 6 weeks for the next appointment, and we'll see how that goes, and I'll report back. But yeah, guys, just wow, am I getting busy? And again, the first thing I did after I blew myself up is I stopped and I texted my family, and I'm like, hey guys, you ever seen people blow up tires with starter fluid? Well, it does work, but you got to make sure you're not standing too close, because I just blew myself up and burnt all the hair out of my face, and as soon as I made sure I was okay, they were just riding me hard, and we all had a good laugh, and it was actually quite funny. But again, I'm making light of it because I was cautious enough that I didn't really hurt myself. You guys, be careful. That could have been a stupid and dangerous situation. But hey, lesson learned, and I don't let it ruin my day, and I don't go off the rocker over it. I literally just counted the blessing for what it is. I got the tire back on. That's what I needed to do. I got my job done. I got my machine back to the house, and I got to my doctor's appointment on time, and had a fantastic day. Right? That's the beauty of it today, guys. So today we're gonna do the reading. Today is the Just for Today NA meditation, because this one is, and again, I know I tend to say this a lot. This is a fantastic reading, and this is one of the areas that I excel in. And it's actually funny. My nurse and I were talking about that today. Your perception, guys, the way you decide to look at life changes everything. Like, two people can go through the same situation, and one will be convinced it's a curse and the other a blessing. Well, I tend to fall on the blessing side of things, because that's what I look for, and I can find the blessing in just about everything, right? And that's what it is today. The reading today, guys, is a curse into a blessing. So, a curse into a blessing. We have become very grateful in the course of our recovery. We have a disease, but we do recover. Active addiction was no picnic. Well, we all know that. Many of us barely came out of it alive. Hello. Excuse me. But ranting against a disease, lamenting about what it has done to us, pitying ourselves for the condition it has left us in, these things can only keep us locked in the spirit of bitterness and resentment. The path to freedom and spiritual growth begins where bitterness ends, with acceptance. There's no denying the suffering brought on by addiction, yet it was this disease that brought us into recovery. Without it, we would neither have sought nor found the blessing of recovery. In isolating us, it forced us to seek fellowship. In causing us to suffer, it gave us the experience needed to help others, help no one else was so uniquely suited to offer. In forcing us to our knees, addiction gave us the opportunity to surrender to the care of a loving higher power. We would not wish the disease of addiction on anyone, but the fact remains that we addicts already have this disease, and further, without this disease, we may never have embarked on our spiritual journey. Thousands of people search their whole lives for what we have found in recovery: fellowship, a sense of purpose, conscious contact with a higher power. Today, we are grateful for everything that has brought us into this blessing. And then the affirmation is: just for today, I will accept the fact of my disease and pursue the blessing of my recovery. And guys, if that doesn't sum up what my life is about today, I don't know what reading does better than that. And it's funny how often I can say that and relate, but that is one thing that every one of us gets to pick and choose. And I know if you've watched my videos, you've heard me talk about this literally from day one right through till probably, positively yesterday. One of the main reasons that my life is so blessed and I'm thriving as well as I am today is because I no longer deny my addiction. I live and embrace recovery. And again, I've said it many times. When somebody hears my testimony and hears the full experience of what I've been through out there, and then hears that I'm incredibly grateful for every minute of it, like, these two can't be. How can that be? Because my life is so blessed today. Even on my best days in addiction, and even in any part of my past, I never had purpose, guys, and that's a terrible thing. Like, I had ambition, I had skills, I had opportunities, and again, I pissed everyone in the way, of course, through addiction. But I never had a sense of purpose. I never felt like I belonged anywhere. I never had a direction. I never had something that overly mattered to me other than getting high. Today I do. The day that I got out of rehab and started this channel, I surrendered. I broke down, I got on my knees, and I thanked God for getting me through everything. And I said, God, I give you my life. I give you my soul. I give you my purpose. Like, this is my purpose now. Please allow me to face addiction and help other people. Please allow me to use my story to encourage others that they can too, because I suddenly understood that my spiritual awakening was realizing that I survived the totality of everything I did and came through unscathed, and I've got an ability to empathize with literally anybody out there. Anything somebody's been through in one form or another, I have as well. So then, for the fact that I'm able to just shed all of that, walk away, let it all go, and then immediately start thriving. And I mean immediately, I'm saying, guys, that the culmination of turning my life around the way that I have in just over a year now. But the fact of the matter is, within 3 or 4 months, like, I was already on the track. I'd started the channel, I was getting involved in my recovery group, all my IOP, and so many different things. Started my business, got the Harvard scholarship, got my pickup truck, I got caught up with my rent, opened a business account. Like, boom, the minute that I found purpose, I found direction, God started showing me the next logical step, and just giving me the ability to for not even giving me the ability, but just putting me in the right place for the right doors to open in front of me. I found purpose, and now that I've got purpose, like now I'm able to direct my motivation, my everything, right? Like, I have a goal, and every goal I have just furthers my cause. The more I thrive, the better I do in my business, the more I can show others that they can too. Like, yeah, the idea of going from living on the street and having nothing and literally being a homeless street junkie to now being a business owner that's about to be a property owner. I mean, that is a powerful, impactful statement. And that's what I'm doing. But again, none of this would have happened. None of the beautiful blessings that have come into my life, every one of them has been a direct result of taking an uncomfortable leap of faith and being honest when my natural instinct was to not, and to hide, and to try and manipulate and play one thing off of the other. This time around, I didn't do any of that. And every time I was confronted, and it was tough, guys. I know, I understand how hard it can be, and it's so easy to slip back because as addicts, we are master manipulators, and I could have manipulated any one of those situations. But for once in my life, I understood that I had to find rigorous honesty with myself and then my life, my situation. And as I did so, it was scary as hell in the beginning. I keep reverting back to one of the biggest ones. When I came to the realization I had to get out of my old job because guys were using drugs, it was a crooked, they were just cutting corners and being unscrupulous and then doing drugs and drinking. And it was just, I couldn't be sober there. So and that was a big thing because he was also a friend of mine, and he'd always been there for me and not bailed me out, but you know what I mean? Whatever. He took advantage, but he also helped me out, and he's a good guy, and we were friends. But he's an addict, and I'm sober, and I'm a recovering addict, and I can't be in that environment. Furthermore, I started seeing, as I started living honesty, I started seeing just how crooked he was, and I'm like, I can't do this. And the more the more I wrestled with it, the clearer it became. So I said, okay, well, that's a leap of faith. Will I put myself first? So I did. I gave my notice. I quit. Now the next conversation I had to have was with my best friend, and who's also my landlord, and now one of my biggest customers. But I owed Doug like $10,000 or $12,000 in back rent at that point. He had held my apartment for me. He was letting me drive what's now my pickup, but at the time was his pickup. I picked it up at the dealership after he dumped $20 plus thousand into having it rebuilt. And I'm driving this truck, and I got to call him up, and he's like, well, just get back to work and get me paid off. And I had to call him up and say, Doug, I got to be honest with you. I quit my job today. I'm a worker. I will find work. My priority is getting you paid off, but I can't work with a guy that's doing drugs and crooked and drinking. And I'm driving your truck. If you don't want me to use it to start doing my own work, I understand. I'll find something out. And immediately he's like, oh my God. I thought he was going to drop the hammer on me. Yeah, I need you to pay me. Like, I thought he was going to lose his shit on me. No. He was proud of me, and he told me so. He's like, good for you. You're better than that. And he did. He told me keep the pickup truck. He told me to keep using the pickup truck. The next day he called and offered to sell me the pickup truck, and then started calling everybody that he knew as contractors and as other customers, letting them know that I was working for myself. If they needed a plumber, if they needed a mechanic, if they needed a heating guy, and boom, he started giving me more and more responsibility for him. When I had surgery and I couldn't work for 2 weeks, he let me run his office for 2 weeks, so I was still making money. Like, every time I took that uncomfortable leap of faith and went with rigorous honesty, the blessings came in. So instead of sitting there and thinking I was cursed and looking at the negative and trying to manipulate, I've just tried to live in rigorous honesty. And I did so from day one. And again, it's become so much easier now because I've got a sense of confidence. I've got resources. I've been saving money for a year. I've got an established business now. I've got a huge clientele. And it's growing constantly. As a matter of fact, now it's more about picking boundaries and figuring out where it makes sense for me to do work and where it makes sense to pass it on to somebody else because I've got more than I can handle. But again, none of this would have come in if I was still sitting there lamenting, oh, I'm an addict, I can't do this, oh, I've got a prison record, I can't do that, oh, this, that, or the other. And I didn't. No, I understood that, listen, I've made my purpose to fight addiction and to encourage others. And in order to do so, I've got to make it look good. impossible. So that's what I've done. Every time I'm faced with a situation, I just said, okay, well, can I make content on saying, oh, that was tough, so I gave up? No. I said, let me find out what it is. Let me take the next proper step. Let me do the right proper research so I can take the next step. And guys, lo and behold, I've learned this whole new set of things, and I've got this whole new set of confidence, and I have a whole new outlook on life. I have a new outlook on myself again. And then as I've gone further, I started going to the gym, started getting healthy. I got the skin tag removed, went to the dentist, went to the dermatologist, and here I am at 52 years old, bench pressing 385, climbing like closing in on 400. That's record breaking. There are so many miraculous blessings in my life because, as I said from day one, guys, what we seek, we find. I've chosen to look at the blessings, and because so, it's like I haven't had to adopt a state of gratitude. I live in a state of gratitude. Like I wake up constantly. I'll be driving down the road, and I just realize the totality of my new situation, and I'm just overwhelmed with gratitude. And I stop and say a prayer, and it's not to get me out of trouble. It's just to say thank you. God, thank you for saving me. Thank you for always keeping me whole. Thank you for opening my eyes. Thank you for the beautiful blessings in my life. And guys, as I've done so, people have noticed, like I'm working hard, I'm getting good results, I'm being a good person, I'm helping other people around me. And they've wanted to either extend an offer of an opportunity, give me further clients, give me more responsibilities. Like that's how you do it, guys. You just be the best person. Nobody wants to sit around. And again, I understand people have a hard day in the program. We're there for each other. But if you show up every day and you're focused on what you can't do and how somebody's done this and the world's pushing you around and then and then and then, nobody wants that in their life. Like, yeah, somebody might do something to help you. They might even give you a handout. But show up and just be upbeat and positive and be a part of the solution and go out of your way to make strides. And when people see you're making efforts to increase your life, they'll offer you opportunities. And opportunities beat handouts every single day because eventually handouts run out. Opportunities never do. The more you engage with good opportunities and get good results by being a good person, the bigger the opportunities get, the more responsibilities, the bigger the rewards. It's just common sense, and I've proven it works. I continue to prove day in and day out. Like, I cannot believe the opportunities I have in front of me today. Like, when I think about it, like, I can basically do anything I want. And you know what? There's no but at the end of that. There's no if at the end of that. No, I've done the work. I've got the rewards. I've got the opportunities. They're right here. But I've chosen to stack them and compound them and not run out and seek gratification. No, I'm delaying the gratification so that the reward is going to be the big one. A 3-family house with my name on the deed, so I'm collecting passive income or semi-passive income because I'm managing the properties. And then I've got a future and a retirement, and I get to call myself a millionaire. Can't say it yet, but it's coming very quickly because blind faith, I believe that I could. If I didn't believe that any of this was possible early on, and again, I wouldn't have been able to believe all of this was possible, but I didn't deny it was possible. I didn't focus on what I couldn't do. I woke up every day and said, God, just give me the next step because I know you're trying to make sure I don't get overwhelmed. So I'll keep my eyes focused on just that next step, and I won't worry about is it more than I can handle, because I know God won't put more than I can handle on my plate. And I've done so in positivity, and I've tried to help as many others as I can along the way. Guys, it's an absolute recipe for success. I've proven it is. There's nothing you can't do. There's nowhere you can't get to, as long as you tell yourself you can. Remember that old adage, guys, and it's 100% right. If you tell yourself you can't, you're right. If you tell yourself you can, you're right. Which way do you want to be right? Prove you can, because you can. But you got to tell yourself you can. You got to look at the blessing in things, not the curse. Yes, we are all afflicted with a deadly disease, but if we don't pick up that first one and we stay in recovery, it can't affect us. And again, then you get all the beautiful blessings of recovery, fellowship, strength, intelligence, like a sense of self-respect, a sense of self-worth, courage. Like, we have so much strength. Everybody that's not dead from addiction has innate strength. Use it for something good and stop believing in yourself. I believe in you. God believes in you. Guys, that's the video for today. Thank you so much for being here with me. Always remember, God loves you. I love you. We'll see you in the next one.